What an amazing start. Keep your thoughts, your comments, your questions, because you're going to get your chance in a wee minute. But before we do that, our second speaker is another prominent Scottish woman. She is now Chief Executive Officer of an organisation called Community Justice Scotland. But she set up, or she co-set up, the Scottish Violence Reduction Unit, which really tackled what had been regarded as an intractable problem and put it straight into reverse very successfully. She spent 22 years working in the police in Sussex, Lancashire, West Mercia, and then Strathclyde and Police Scotland. She also trained as a registered nurse and has an MSc and a BSc in psychology, and she's a member of the Faculty of Public Health. Would you give a huge warm welcome, please, for Karyn McCluskey?
Right, so it's on nights like tonight that I wish I had Val McDermid's talent for writing and corralling my words onto a page. It's on nights like this that I wish I wasn't following her. So last night I was berating Shelter for asking me to do this, and I struggled to make a sense of their task. I did swear a bit, as you're soon going to find out. I wish I'd said no and turned on to the Archers and had a cup of tea, but I can't because I'm a fearty, but I'm a hopeful fearty. But I've been shaken out of my cosy reverie recently by trying to help a friend whose relative is homeless. And it's a complex homelessness problem, to use the lingo of organisations. A narrative littered with mental health and drugs and rough sleeping and prison and love and hopelessness and despair. And I tried to help. I called people. For those that know me, I'm a shameless caller-up of people. I'm an abuser of their kindness, and I got absolutely nowhere. And I feel ashamed to have let this person down that I was helping. Because I've done my bit before. I was saying this to someone earlier. I collect new socks and underwear and gloves for homeless charities. People actually send me knickers in the post. Still, it's banal really. It feels like a sticking plaster on a gaping wound, but can I tell you, it makes me feel practical because I was, and still have that running through me, I was a nurse. But I don't feel practical where my friend's concerned. I don't feel practical at all. I feel overwhelmed by trying to find the right person to speak to. And I bet if we asked the homeless people why they're living on the street, and one theme will inevitably emerge. They were unable to navigate the maze of programmes, the plethora of organisations, and the procedures intended to help. The same bureaucracy that frustrated me and my friend utterly stymies those who've got mental health problems and drug-addled brains. It seems more that we set up the systems for us, the service deliverers, than it does the people that we serve. And for those that live in or work in or are close to the chaos and hopelessness that pervades some of our people, it's overwhelming too. We probably find solace in the systems, our bureaucracy. It makes us think we're doing something practical. But see, for those that are receiving our service, they're tired of being disappointed and they're tired of being let down. They're tired of services delivered to them and not with them, that don't meet their needs, and more importantly, doesn't make their life better. They're tired of hearing promises made and proposed by service leaders, me included, only to have nothing change, because the most difficult part of this is not writing a strategy, but actually making it happen. 50 years of Shelter, you must be tired also. Shelter asked me to present on one thing from a professional perspective, that I could address homeless crisis or address social justice. Lol, as my kid would say. You can't tame a wicked problem, and this is wicked. There isn't one thing to solve it, it's complex. I could be selfish and talk about ensuring houses and homes for people who are leaving the prison service, because it can't be right in 2019 that people leave prison without knowing where they're going to live. I can't even begin to imagine the anxiety around that. So let's not kid ourselves. There aren't people trying to get back into the jail because that's the best option they have. But I'm not going to talk about that, because that would be like strategic whack-a-mole. You know that, where you sort one group out but cause pressures elsewhere? On other parts of the system, it creates a hierarchy of groups and it helps no one. Money gets skewed, interest groups get set up, you pit one group against another. So maybe something else. Maybe the one thing is government. I mean, this is when P45 at the ready. We are living in extraordinary times, dangerous times. We appear to have a political version of the Hunger Games going on without all the cool outfits. People are angry and they're yelling at each other, and the things that are really important, like homelessness, are not at the top of the agenda. It's become business as usual. Things are busy, challenging, confused and complex, and it's easy to be distracted, it really is. Don't go on Twitter, people, just don't. And for crucial areas that are impacting on people who are some of the most vulnerable but neglected and pushed down the list of priorities by issues that seem just that bit more deserving and more palatable. And in order to move this country forward, and I mean the big or the small one, wherever your political allegiances lie, to prevent homeless, to actually solve the problems and make people's lives better, we need a well-functioning government. We need our institutions to work, including our third sector. We need cooperation amongst people of different political persuasions. And to make that work, we've got to restore our faith in our institutions. We've got to bring people together, not pull them apart. Because preventing homelessness is going to take big government, big policies, big commitment, big spend. And it should be the biggest movement of our time. And I think we're at a pivotal moment when every one of us, and I mean every one of us, so don't look at anybody else, I'm talking to you, needs to determine who it is that we are and what it is we stand for. A glance at the recent headlines around homelessness should tell you this moment is really different. The stakes really are higher. Tens of thousands of our kids made homeless last year. And the consequences of any of us sitting on the sidelines are more dire. I was in Manchester at the weekend and I was speaking to Val just before I came on. And honestly, I was shocked at the level of rough sleeping. I just overwhelmed. And I suddenly realised, because I was shocked, because it seemed like it was another level. And can I tell you, maybe I've become used to the homelessness I see in Scotland. You know that old analogy of boiling a frog, you turn it at 1 degree at a time, and then you suddenly realise that the frog's dead. I think we're all getting used to it, and that's a really bad thing. And you'd think, looking across Scotland today, we could marshal all the great intellects. Look, there's about 250 people in this room. Across this small country of ours. I mean, you think about it. Our GDP is over 150 billion. We export more than we import. We've got more wind for energy. I mean, we've just got more weather in general. Companies have invested, they've created jobs. We've tried to strengthen our system of primary and secondary education. More people are going to university. And for those with all the unique skills and access to technology and capital, our markets have brought wealth and significant prosperity. Just look at around the swathes of this beautiful country. But no for everybody. No, everybody's included in this prosperity. For there's always been a darker side to the story of Scotland. Progress doesn't always move in a straight line. There are profound changes taking place in Scotland. Problems built up over decades that are expressing themselves and manifesting themselves in the most wicked of ways. For all those that have done well, too many are left behind. For all those who got opportunity, too many don't get the choice. For all those who go home tonight, too many won't. And now we have the added burden of universal credit. And I'm sorry, but I fear that this may be the undoing of us. I fear we were unpicking the consequences for more than a decade or more. I really fear that. And isn't it really interesting that other countries, when faced with the same challenges that we had, came up with something completely different? So, for example, Finland or Canada, universal basic income. A system of wealth distribution in which people received a salary just for being alive. Around 600 euros a month. And some 2,000 recipients at the moment in Finland, and they're still doing lots of the analysis, reported lower levels of stress, better well-being. That's what all you want. You want better well-being. And that's not all. In the bigger studies, crime levels went down. Alcohol and tobacco sales were unaffected. People didn't spend the money and drink. Who knew? People sought employment more because you took the pressure off them. It gave them breathing space. Their kids' school attendance went up, and people maintained their homes. Same problem, different solution. I looked at the Homeless Monitor before I was doing this presentation in 2019. And if you're someone like me who has to spend a lot of time looking at reports and you're also Scottish, then you pick up words which say, the scale of statutory homelessness has been relatively flat. Overall number of temporary accommodation has remained fairly stable. A rough sleeping appears to have been stable. And you think, well, I do. I'm glad we've not made it worse. Thank God for that. I mean, I'm glad it's no worse, for that would be bloody dreadful. But we've not exactly been successful, Val's right. And it's no slight against the wonderful people I know work in homelessness, because I know loads of you. And, you know, and you're trying like a bear to make this better. Because in reality, we have made progress, and this is the truth. Actually stopping the deterioration is a success. So many other areas of the country have gotten significantly worse. Things are better, not perfect, no by a long stretch of the imagination, but better. You're not going to be able to solve this in a heartbeat. It's really difficult. It's going to require a plan, money, commitment, resilience, innovation, bravery, and maybe a wee bit of Val McDermid. And can I tell you, I don't think that we can just optimise the current system, making what we do just that wee bit better, because we've been great at that previously. We've tried that. But it's not fit for 2019 and beyond. We're going to need a paradigm shift, a radical rethink about how we change this. And the great thing is, I think there's already the green shoots of this in Scotland. We're going to need to make room for new voices, new ideas, and not crowd them out. But I'm not sure I want another report. More articulating of the problem. I think we know enough to be getting on with. We really do. And what we need is decent, thoughtful people who are accountable and committed to action. A verb in their sentence, you know that, a doing word. We need a lot of different ways of supporting people, and we shouldn't have the terror of error about reimagining a different way. And at some point, political leaders, I know there's a few of you in the room, will recognise it is far cheaper to prevent homelessness than to fund the ongoing support of homeless individuals. And when they do, I get the feeling there'll be no shortage of suggestion of policies waiting for their attention. But it's really not about the financial argument. I'm nearly done. Well, I'm never actually nearly done. Although that can help politicians sell new policies with finance, it's actually all about dignity. Dignity is the right of a person being worthy of honour or respect, to be valued, the dignity of having a home, the dignity of bringing your kids up in a safe and stable place, the dignity afforded by a country as rich as Scotland because we've got money. Systems, policies, strategies, they're not standalone things that suddenly popped up into the world fully formed. They were all created by and delivered by and filled with people. And we forget that at our peril. We started this. You asked me for one thing that I think should happen or change in Scotland to help us address the housing crisis and to achieve social justice, and it's this. That the dignity that is the right of every human being should lie at the heart of every decision, every proposal and every penny that we spend. That human dignity is our compass and our North Star when it comes to getting things right for our citizens. And it's that would have made a difference to my friend in the beginning. And only then can Scotland hold up its head as a modern democracy and take its place in the world stage as a progressive nation. Thanks very much.